Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to talk about an idea or a phenomenon called proof text dumping. I actually heard this from a Unitarian Christian talking about this issue and the kind of things that they face when they discuss with their counterparts, maybe the Trinitarians or something. But the idea is also, you'll find this in Islam also, and I'm going to show you what it means. So, proof text dumping is the idea of, let's say you are going to have a debate with somebody. You will come up, you guys clearly disagree. That's why you're debating in the first place. So you will go and find verses that support your claim, and then during the discussion or somewhere in there, you start quoting these verses as if that's the only, like, as if the other, your interlocutor, doesn't know the verses or has not read them. Okay, and you select them in a specific way to only support your claim. So you just start dumping it and asking everybody, like, why doesn't that guy see it? Why doesn't he, has he not read the Bible? And many people in the dawah, you must have experienced this too before. So let me give you one good example. You are debating a Christian on the deity of Christ, if Jesus is God or not. And then he goes in there and says, you know what? Look at what he says there in the Bible. I and my Father are one. Okay? Say, I and my Father are one. What else you want? So implicit in that, the number one thing is they don't show you that I and my Father are one is not so clear. It can be interpreted in many ways. That's the first one. The second thing is there might be another counterfactual or counter evidence that will not make it go the way you want it to go. And I'm sure if you're involved in that, you already know this. And just to being consistent on my approach, that I don't normally talk about the Bible, because that's one of the problems I face, is that you can just people have different interpretations. How are you going to fixate a particular idea to criticize? Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, there's another verse that talks about I and my disciples, just like I and my Father are one, me and my disciples will be one with them also. So if you have this idea, if I and my Father are one is supposed to make Jesus God and one with the Father and stuff, then what about the disciples? So you see that when you are dumping text, you have already selected, and there might be some other verses that will counteract that will make you think in a different way. So this is what is called proof text dumping. You now imagine that's just one. There are many more. You can just be dumping on the guy, and it seems to support your claim. But if the guy just start quoting verses back to you, you're going to have to deal with them. Okay, so this is just an example of proof text dumping. Now, in Islamic discussions too, you will find this. When someone goes to the Quran and just takes one verse and just say, look at this verse, especially when you're discussing Aqidah issue or fiqh issue, okay, there's a whole thing that is behind that you need to take into consideration as well. You cannot just quote one verse and you expect it to solve the Aqidah problem. It's not going to do that. That's why there will always be disagreement, because you are quoting the verse expecting it to be solving the problem, but there's another verse that can just refute your position. And this is exactly what I found out. Like when I listen to one side, they just have their own selected verses that they use, and you go to the other side too, they have their own selected verses that they use. And then which one is the truth now? Which one are you going to follow? And that is one of the reasons why I told you I don't focus on text and what does the text say per se. I focus on principles. If you want to talk about Aqidah, that's theology. You're going to be systemic. You have to be systemic. You cannot just be quoting verses. You have to do the work more than just quoting the text. You have to explain. You have to go deeper. If you're going to talk about metaphysics, go and talk about metaphysics. You cannot just be quoting text and expecting it to solve the problem. If you want to talk about other issues too, like fiqh, there's also in fiqh as well. Like you can use one hadith, but there's another hadith that somebody can just use to justify his own position as well. So you dumping text in a discussion doesn't necessarily help at all. What we should focus on, in my own opinion, is principles. What is your principle? That's where we can find fault. That's where we can know why you're even thinking like that in the first place. So have you guys ever experienced this idea of proof text dumping? Has someone ever dumped text on you from any side? Focus on the principles. Remember, focus on principles. Study principles. Study epistemology. Study the theory of knowledge. Those things are like, study, for instance, let me see, like Imam Bukhari's concept of which hadith is sahih or not. Study Imam Shafi's Arisala. I think there's one thing he wrote about Arisala. Study many of them and get their what is the idea. Don't study the text to quote it. Don't be a parrot. It's not like it's bad 100%, but when we are trying to have an intellectual discussion, you shouldn't be doing that, quoting stuff, only quoting and dumping stuff. You need to explain. You need to show why this principle is better and many things like that. So if you look at Imam Shafi's principles in that Risala, you can say, okay, this part, maybe this person, I agree with this other scholar more on this issue, or I agree with Imam Shafi more. You're going to have to study. You have to do the work. So you go and listen to one sheikh and you hear all the proof text that he has laid down and then you start dumping it on everybody. It's not going to work. Anyway, guys, don't let me make this video too long. Let me see what you think in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.